Okay, in this video, I just want to talk through quickly when and when not to use custom code in platforms like Squarespace. And it's an easy trap to fall into, especially when we're starting out in web design, where we're going to think that we're going to need to add custom code to get the experience just right for our visitor and therefore our customer who's come to us for the website. But it doesn't work like that. In fact, as a designer, you're more attuned to the subtle differences between, for example, two websites on the Squarespace platform than an average visitor will ever be. There are outliers. For example, if you're looking to build a website as a Squarespace designer, then your peers will know if your website's been built on Squarespace, whether it's using the standard features or whether it's using any custom code to make it more individual. And of course, this will change depending on the budget of your project. But if you're starting out, you're less likely to be charging, I'm going to use UK GBP or Great British Pound here as the example. But if you're charging on average over £5,000 per website, there's more likelihood that you're an experienced designer who's got maybe at least 50, 60 websites under your belt so that you can charge those prices and be confident that you can deliver what's needed for there. It's not quite the Wild West of website pricing it used to be, but there are still discrepancies between different price points. But when you're starting out, the most likelihood is that you're going to be building websites anything between £500 and say £2,000 per site, and probably nearer the £500 mark as you're looking to get more experience under your belt. My recommendation is do not use custom code for those type of sites because you're just going to make a rod for your back and kick that can further down the road and create more headaches where you'll have a client who has expectations that you are going to maybe provide additional support once the website's live, or if something goes wrong, they're going to hold you accountable to that, whether you signed a contract around those lines or not. For example, you go and add 10 to 15 lines of custom code because you've got a bit of experience of HTML and CSS, or you've gone to ChatGPT and asked it to write the code for you to make the menu system look a little different. What you don't know yet is what impact that's likely to have on other areas within Squarespace, how the user experience is going to differ on different size devices because of that. And that's mainly because you haven't got to know the platform well enough. And therefore, there could well be easy alternatives that you can find that would be better suited. So what I'm kind of saying here is that learn how to use Squarespace and master the platform first, then add custom code, if that's a skill set you want to add to it, as an extra layer of awesomeness on top of that. Once you've got all of that in place, it becomes much easier then to upsell other skills that you have, or what we tend to do at Pixel Haze is to increase our price point for certain usage. So we have two clear and straightforward pricing plans, or at least I hope they're straightforward. One is for workshops, which will be anything from £1,500, again, UK money, up to around £4,500. These will be following the template structure and the layouts we've got on squareforge.net. It will adhere to those. We may add in one or two plugins, but again, we've got hundreds, probably about 400, 500 websites under our belt on the Squarespace platform specifically. So we know our way around it in our sleep. So we know when to use a plugin, when not to use custom code, and when there's a really suitable workaround within the platform. For every line of code that we're putting in, we're creating almost like a branch off the multiverse of options that we've got when we're designing websites. That can create a chain reaction in terms of the knock-on effects that custom code will make elsewhere, and then we end up with potentially an absolute mess on our hands as we're trying to play whack-a-mole fixing problems created by one plugin that we installed. And the worst case can be, and I'm not going to talk down plugins, we build our own and we sell our own on Pixel Haze Academy and on the Squareforge store. But plugins are great as an extra layer of icing on top of a pretty solid cake. And then we add the extra layer then of finesse, that icing on top, which would then be the custom code. It just makes it more unique and different, but we separate when we use custom code in most cases. We have a second price tier outside of our workshops, which start from £5,000, which are usually £6,000 plus. And that means that we can do whatever's needed. If we need a brand new plugin that we build from the ground up, we will add it to these works type projects, which start from £6,000 and go anything up to £14,000-15,000, depending on the size and complexity of the project. Or in some cases, the number of iterations that our client would like to see. If they would like to spend 3 weeks coming up with new innovative ideas around the website, and they have the budget to match it, then of course that becomes an option with that higher payment plan. And so we use a horses for courses approach. But if you're just starting out, try to avoid using custom code for that reason, because it just gets really messy. Hope that's helped. Custom code can be a really good addition to a Squarespace site, but Squarespace as a platform has moved on so much in the last 11 years that I've been working with it that even we use far less than we used to. And we also need to build a business case and justify the use of that code, because it could potentially cause knock-on effects for our client once we finish with the project, which means it comes back into our lap, whether we want it or not. It could create us problems to finish off the project, cross-browser issues, or alternatively, it can increase the load speed if you're adding a lot of custom code into a site. These factors all need to be considered when we're building our website. But happy hunting. Hope your design process goes well for you, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.